We could talk about Tarkov too. Don't forget about that.
You know what I also do?
That's the thing.
I'm like level 10. I think I've done like 4 missions or something, which is super rare for me.
I think I'm like 5.
Tarkov. That's like every time I get on, it's later. And all the fuck, there's like 22 dudes in there playing Tarkov. Or it's just Tap, and I know it's like in the latter half of the day, and he's pretty tired, and he's not going to be out much longer. What is this?
This is
eight?
No.
7?
Wait.
9?
I want to hold on.
You don't even
Stand
remember.
by. I don't even remember now.
I feel so bad.
Stand by. Stand by. YouTube. I think this is 7. I think it's 7.
Okay.
Our channel says this is episode 7. Yeah, because 6 was last.
Oh.
All right. Go ahead, man.
Look at my
So all that
cookie. This is like the most protein I've had all day, and it's fucking amazing. How am I fat? I don't get it. I don't eat enough to be a fat man.
That's I say that too.
I should take one from Hollywood's playbook and just obtain a cocaine addiction. All right. Hey everybody, welcome. Episode 7 of our podcast. It's been a bit of a gap, a delay in time since our last one. Yeah, I have water. It's been a long day, so I was a little late to the whiskey party, and I wish I wasn't sad.
I've got watered down scotch today, and it's very it's not good when it's 50% melted ice cube and 50% monkey shoulder.
I love monkey shoulder.
I do. It's a good like overall all around scotch.
Yeah.
Not too expensive. Goes down easy. Not too smoky. Not too sweet. Kind of in the middle.
Yeah, it's not. It's really good. It's one of those ones where like if I'm there, if I see it and I'm having a struggle picking what I want, it's like one of my go-tos, along with Breckenridge or what's the orange? It's like a kind of a smaller round bottle, has like an orange label.
Lemorange or
no?
It's gonna kill you.
It would be, because I have to look it up. If not, it'll bother me. Is Bullet.
Oh, Bullet Bourbon.
Yeah.
Bullet Bourbon's good stuff. And we'll talk about that in a little bit, because I just actually I drove my ass to Kentucky 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
And I know we talked about it on the last podcast, but it was really, really worth it. I'll put some pictures up as we talk about this today, but the goal was to drive out with a big ass Ford Explorer SUV with three rows of seats,
all them ponies,
right, to haul back all the bounty that we would pull up from Kentucky. A couple cool things I learned from Kentucky is that there are more barrels of bourbon in Kentucky than there are people in Kentucky, which is an interesting fact.
That's crazy.
It is. Kentucky makes, I think, 96 to 97% of all bourbon in the United States.
Wow.
There is one bourbon distillery like Breckenridge outside of Kentucky in every state, I think, except Alaska. So the majority is there. So I went to the motherland, and I went with my buddy Sean. We went to Lexington and Louisville.
Okay.
And we did the Bourbon Trail, which is basically a bunch of different distilleries. We went to Woodford Reserve. We went to Buffalo Trace. We went to Four Roses. We went to Michter's. We went to, a couple of like unique, smaller bourbon distilleries, and it was just intoxicating, both figuratively and literally. It was...
You get screwed up at those things. You really do.
Because everybody makes a kick-ass old-fashioned. Everybody makes like a great like mint julep and like all these different
like pouring it down your throat for free.
Oh, and then there's flights, and next thing you know,
you're
wondering like why you're asleep with like your sock on or whatever.
Yep.
How did this happen?
Yep.
Why am I laying on the bed the opposite way that I should be?
I just experienced that. So yeah.
Were you on the Bourbon Trail too?
No, I was in horrible parts of dive bars of Denver and screwed that up. But I have been to down here in Colorado. We have the Stranahan's distillery. They make tin cup and obviously Stranahan's, and they actually give you the tails, which is like some ridiculous proof, like 190 proof, like whatever it is, as they're distilling it down before it goes in the barrels.
Right.
And they're passing them out in these like little shooters. And my father-in-law and his good friend, family friend or whatever, they were like, "You want this?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I shot 3.
Goddamn right, I want it.
Shot 3 of those. I'm like, I didn't let gasoline go to waste.
Right? Isn't the tails like the shit that you don't necessarily want?
I don't know if it's something to do with like before it goes in the barrel. So they do multiple levels of distillation, right? It's like the last level where it's the purest it can be. I guess that's not the tail, whatever that is, the head, whatever it is. It's like the last distillation. That's what they were giving it because it's so clear. Okay. It's so pure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So let me tell you the process, because I went to like 5 different bourbon tours. Everything smelled like banana bread. It was the greatest thing in the world. So basically, when you're talking about bourbon, right? There's a couple rules of bourbon, and if you go to the distilleries, they always like drill it in your head. It's got to be made in the U.S.
Yep.
So no bourbon. You can't have a bourbon from any other country besides the United States. That's the first one. Number 2, it's got to be at least 51% corn. So the major grain is always corn.
Okay.
Then they'll put in like malt or barley or rye or something else, but it's mostly corn. Bourbon is always made in charred oak barrels. So they'll take a barrel, they'll build the barrel, and then they'll basically just burn the inside of it. And there's like a number 3 level, a number 4 level. It's like how many seconds the inside of the barrel is exposed to like direct flame. Yeah.
Okay.
So once they do that, that's another rule. The other rule is that when you put it in the barrel, now I think this is what you're talking about, because when you put it in the barrel, bourbon is clear.
Yeah, it was.
Bourbon comes out of the barrel colored, and that's from the wood and the char and stuff.
Yep.
So, and a lot of the flavor from the oak or whatever it is gets into the bourbon, but the clearest shit, like right after it gets out of being distilled in the distiller and it evaporates up through the big columns, that stuff is like, it's almost like moonshine.
Right.
It's clear. So bourbon can't be put into a barrel over 125 proof. So even if you get like 130 proof, they'll like water it down. Yeah. It's got to be at 125 proof when it goes in the barrel. And proof, I'm sure you know, but to everybody else who's here, proof is basically double the alcohol content. So if it's 125 proof, it's about 62.5% alcohol by volume. So bourbon is usually aged in barrels for 4 years. If it's under 4 years, it has to be printed on the label. And so basically what they do is when they make the bourbon, they take your grains and they'll mix a couple of different grains. They'll do like some 51% corn, they'll do rye, they'll do whatever. They put it together and then they grind it into like a powder, like cornmeal. Then they boil it. After they boil it, they make the mash, and then they throw it in a tub with a shit ton of yeast, and then it ferments and it makes bubbles, and those bubbles are just the breaking down of sugars to carbon dioxide to where the yeast is making ethanol, which comes out at obviously a lot lower of a so the proof of it is, I think it's called wine proof or beer proof or something like that. But basically when it comes out, it's got like the proof of beer or wine. Okay. Then they drain it, and then they start putting in the fermenter, and then you get out the heads, which to me, the heads I thought was methanol, which you definitely don't want to drink. Like that's the stuff that's going to kill you,
Right.
make you blind, destroy your kidneys, whatever.
Yeah.
So you don't want that. So that stuff, I mean, it evaporates at a lower temperature. So it's the first thing when the temperature's going up, it's the first thing to evaporate and get drawn off. Then you have the ethanol, which is the drinking alcohol, and then you have the tails, which is the end of it. And that is, I don't know what that is. I think that's like more of crap. I don't know. Yeah, it's apparently not the greatest stuff.
No.
But that part that what the grain is left over, that's transferred to the next batch, so there's a consistency between batches. But it's when we went to Angel's Envy, they actually sprayed some of the clear stuff before it goes into the barrels, because it smells like hand sanitizer, but it smells like cornbread hand sanitizer, which is really, really nice. And you can lick it and drink it, and people are licking their hands and stuff. It's pretty funny. But it's that stuff's pretty cool, but it's probably a little bit too high a proof. So it goes in the barrels, and then then these guys who are like these master distillers and tasters, I mean, they eventually sample the bourbon from the barrels and say, okay, it's done, it's ready. And then it goes into bottling and they get shipped out. But it's interesting. Every year that a bourbon stays in those barrels, a large amount of it evaporates. So that's when you hear like bourbon, like you ever hear of Angel's Envy?
I know Angel's Envy, yeah.
So there's something called what they call the angel share, which means that the part of the bourbon that evaporates out into nothingness is called the angel share. It's for the gods. Like you don't get to have it. It just evaporates.
Yeah.
It evaporates out of the barrel. So that's the reason why bourbon. Yeah, that's the reason why bourbon also gets more expensive the longer it sits in the barrel, because there's less of it in the barrel and it keeps evaporating out.
Okay.
And it also can get more concentrated, obviously, if there's less in the barrel.
Makes sense.
But
strong flavors.
It is. So Angel's Envy is the part that goes into the bottle, right? Because that's what the angels don't get, so they're envious of it. So the angel share is the part that goes up, and the angel's envy. So Angel's Envy is about the part that you get to drink, because the angels don't get it, so they're envious of it.
The name Angel Envy can go both ways. It could sound like an Infliction t-shirt based band, or something from like 1883 that like cowboys drink and it makes you blind. You know what I mean? It's like one or the other. That's how that name comes off to me.
Right. So Angel's Envy is actually it's bourbon in rye. Is it rye casks? Oh no. It's bourbon in. I want to say it's some sort of wine cask. It might be port.
I know you talk. Yeah.
It's in a sweet wine cask. I don't like theirs as much, but they also make a rye, which is in rum casks.
Okay.
That is pretty damn good, and that's much more expensive, but it's really, really good.
They do the brewery behind me here. They have a it's like your dad's double barrel aged pale ale or IPA or whatever, and it's like they take an pale ale, and they or some sort of stout. I think it was a stout, and they put it in bourbon barrels, and they let it sit in the bourbon barrels, and you get it out. It's like 25% alcohol beer.
Right.
That you have like 2 or 3 of those, and you're like, that's not normal beer.
It's not. It's not. Yeah, I mean, that's all these people are doing that now. They're taking like wine casks or scotch casks, and they're putting a bunch of stuff in it that weren't in it before, and then it's like they're getting out some interesting stuff. But the flavors are obviously different if you taste them, and if you go to, as I talked about before, I believe if you go to Sam Adams, they make something called a Utopia, which is fermented in I forget what kind of cask it's in. I think it's in a wine cask, but it ends up being an alcohol content higher than beer is allowed to be sold at. So there's a bunch of different states that have it actually off the market as, you can't market it as beer.
Yep. Yeah.
But there's a whole bunch of crazy stuff people do.
They call it a bourbon stout or something. They have a name for it. You know what I mean? I think it's
Yeah.
silly that we regulate it so much, but it could screw you up if you're not aware. But see, Colorado's really interesting because the breweries here they put the ABV in all the beers. They could have 40 beers
Right.
and each one will have an ABV. You know what I mean? So you can kind of you're like, you know what, I want to not be here today, so you just go to the higher section.
Right. Depends on how bad or good of the day you're having.
Yeah, exactly. How many family members are with you?
They should arrange it across the shelf and by ABV, low to high.
I
Say,
swear
hey.
they do. They used to have a bar when I was younger, in Old Town Fort Collins, called Wall Street. And what they would do
Cool.
is they had like the tickers or marquees
Right.
or whatever.
Yeah, the stock tickers or
Yeah, and it would rotate beers around, and if you were paying attention, some of them would be like 3 cents. So if you went up to the bar and said, I want so and so beer for whatever amount that was on the ticker, they would sell it to you for that amount.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. They got
I've
shut
never
down
seen
for
anything like
fake
that
IDs.
before. Oh no.
Thanks, college kids, for ruining the one good thing we had, even though I was like a college kid at that time. But anyways, yeah, it's really cool. I've been to a couple distilleries and things like that, but I mostly beer. Stranahan's is only like real whiskey, you know, brown liquor distillery I've ever been to.
Right.
I guess it's not beers aren't distilleries, they're
Breweries. Yeah. And I think I was very happy. I came back with 23 bottles of bourbon through the whole week.
That's a lot.
That's a real lot. So we one of the other places that you really got to go to is you got to go to Buffalo Trace. I mean,
I like Buffalo Trace.
The size and scope of their facility is just like a couple football fields in size.
I believe it.
And it's like, so Buffalo Trace makes a bunch of bourbons that are very hard to get. You know, first of all, Buffalo Trace, so depending on where you live, sometimes that's a little tough to get. Then you have stuff like Weller's, which has like 5 or 6 type. That's a predominantly, I think, wheat bourbon.
Right.
And that is made by Buffalo Trace too. Very difficult to get. There's Blanton's bourbon, which is also very, very difficult to get. E.H. Taylor, which is these are all like big time bourbon makers back in the day when bourbon first started being like a thing. And they also make Sazerac rye. I forget what the other things that they make, but the bottom line is, if you go to your liquor store and try to get Blanton's, odds are you can't.
No.
It might be behind the cash register in the back for those guys and they might be charging a huge upcharge. Like I bought a bottle of Blanton's here. It was like $148 for a bottle. And it was crazy. But when you go to Buffalo Trace every day, they'll have Buffalo Trace for sale, but they'll have one of their specialty bourbons that you can't get. And they'll have so many cases of it, and then once it's gone, you know, they're all on their walkie-talkies. They're like, yeah, we're done for today. No more.
Wow.
So we went there when they had Blanton's. So it's one per customer. So we got Blanton's for like $60 or whatever it actually is sold at, not what your liquor store may upcharge you for it. So, Eagle Rare is the other one that they make, but it is fantastic bourbon, smooth. Are you checking it out?
I'm looking to see if we have Blanton's close by.
Look up if you have Drizzly, the app Drizzly, that you can look up.
That's what I'm on as we speak. I'm on let's see. What we got?
Tell me what your bottle of Blanton's is going for right now. I guarantee it's over $100.
Oh, I'm sure. Hold on.
If it's under $100, buy it.
Single barrel, right? Is that what you had? Blanton single barrel bourbon?
I think so. Reserve? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm checking up in Denver. Okay. So I'm kind of curious. Denver's got a little more.
While you check.
Ooh, look at
Bluegrass.
That.
Bluegrass Distillers. This bottle here I poured out of the barrel myself. This is bourbon. This is actually rye. Actually, I'm sorry.
You got to pour that yourself?
Yeah. I'll put a picture up online. But basically, I poured this from the barrel. They gave you your own bottle. You had to label it yourself. The distiller signed the bottle. You can see it like on here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to open it for the first time right here because I need a third bottle of bourbon or rye today.
Can we do a broader search than like a mile? Like what's going on here?
You can't find it.
Um,
It's tough. It's tough. So Bluegrass is a smaller distillery in Colorado, in Kentucky, and they make They actually make a bourbon fermented in pickle barrels. Ooh. They call it I think it's called pickleback, and they make a bourbon Bloody Mary with that. That's interesting.
Does not sound great. I'm gonna be honest.
It's actually not bad. I hate pickles too, and it's actually not that bad. It's this very mild, tiny little bit of pickle taste. Cheers to those who are here. You're drinking water, but this is rye. Oh, this is strong. This is right out of the barrel. Oh, what's the proof of this? 130 proof. So this is 65% alcohol.
Oh, there's here of Harmony. What the heck are you talking about? Drizzly, dum-dum. I did find it. And it doesn't say the price. So probably a lot.
Probably a lot.
Well, that was a waste of my time.
Right. Well, if you go to Kentucky, if you're lucky on the day when they have planters, you can get it for $60-some a bottle versus the 100 to 120 to 200 that everybody will charge you outside of Kentucky.
The cheapest I can find it right now is $179.
The best I found it in Jersey was $140.
You know what I really want still?
What do you want? What do you want?
Lex.
Oh, the vodka?
Yeah, I miss that stuff. It hurts that.
You can't get it? You just ask your liquor store guy to just get it in.
I did one time. He looked at me like I was a traitor to the country. He was like, "What are you asking?"
It's Ukrainian. It's for the cause.
Yeah, now that's what I'm gonna say. Now I'm gonna go in there and be like,
listen, man, I'm supporting Ukraine. Yeah. Send me their vodka.
Yeah. So Tap Hunters has it for
Lex or Blanton's.
Blanton's. Yeah, everything's over $100. $129.
Yeah. For Blanton's?
Yeah.
Oh.
Here's a single barrel by them, an older one. What is this? Oh, miniature shot for $60. Mm-hmm. You can kick rocks.
It is so good. It's not too sweet. It's not too burny. It's just smooth and right in the middle.
I love the bottle.
The bottle's cool.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of different types of Blanton's. I haven't purchased them. There's single barrel. There's special reserve. There's ones that are only sold out of the country. If you get all the bottles, the horses are all in a different form of the run. And if you put them next to each other, they all
cool.
add up to the animation of a horse running.
That's cool. You could make take a picture of each one and make a GIF out of it.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody already did that. Yeah.
I'm sure.
So that was Kentucky. Kentucky has great food. There's a bar in every corner.
It's good stuff.
They all have bourbon. They all have grits, shrimp and grits.
I love
they got
grits.
everything you
shrimp.
want. Yeah, I don't like shrimp either, but they have great steaks. If you like seafood, they got that too.
I want to say, for you those who may be going to the old South, going down to Georgia, when you get down there, wherever you're going, Kentucky, Alabama, if you're going to get grits, they can't be instant grits. It should take them 30 minutes to an hour to make good grits. And if they don't do that, okay, if it takes them, if they're like, oh, well, they don't have it pre-made or whatever, because they'll tell you, usually you can, find out. If it's instant grits, it's trash. It's not going to taste good. But good, long-cooked grits with butter, that's where it's at. Along with some southern corned beef hash is real good, too.
I don't know if I ever had grits.
It's
My wife had grits.
I mean, it's like if they do it right with the salt and the butter, it's just creamy butter oats. I don't really explain it. I don't know, but like I'm a mixer of foods. Like I never like just eat one piece of my meal at a time. I like to mix it together, and I always
Right.
found it was fantastic when I would mix it with, like sometimes I get a side of it. You know, you put with your hash browns or whatever, and you just scoop it in, and it's like you got a good crunchy base. You have the buttery, you know, savoriness of the grits. You have your eggs. That's where it's at.
Good stuff. That
I'm
sounds
really
good.
hungry. Yeah,
Yeah. You're hungry?
I've
You
eaten
got to get
today,
some
so I'm
grits.
starving.
We would have a good time if we went together for at the Bourbon Trail. Then we had Manhattans, we had old fashions, we had mint juleps, we had flights of rye and bourbon. It was just
And things for like that, I'm always prepared for it. I always prepare myself. You know, a trick that I've learned, or actually my mother-in-law, she's a firm believer of this. For those who may not be alcohol tolerant, like some of us, drink Pepto Bismol before you go out
really
because it coats your stomach, right? So eat a meal, do your Pepto Bismol, whatever, maybe whatever the case may be, and then go out and, you know, have a good time. Be reasonable. Like don't go and just slam bourbons at everyone, you know. But
right.
it's definitely works. It definitely adds a layer of protection. It's like the force fields from Halo. It's like you also hear me. You know, you're running out, but you know, don't ever drink an empty stomach.
Our neighbor Svetlana, who you've met,
Yeah, she was awesome.
She will drink a shot of olive oil.
Same thing.
To do the same thing.
Same thing. Yeah.
So she'll keep being able to do those Lex shots or those vodka shots.
Yeah. Lex was crazy to me because I drank a lot of that because Svetlana basically held my mouth and was pouring it down with pickles. One after the shot was a pickle thrown in there at the same time.
Picklebacks, yeah.
Yeah, and I woke up the next day. Don't tell. I knew I'd been drinking. My body was dehydrated. I was feeling it, but I didn't have a hangover. Like I didn't have all the other side effects that come with it. You know, headache, nausea. You know, questioning life's existences. And I got up at 7 a.m. You know, with Axel who got in his CRV. Like we moseyed onto the airport, and I'm like, I told him, look, I'm like, dude, I don't feel that bad, and I know we were pretty fucked up when we left. So.
I guess it worked.
Yeah, but vodka's always been like that for me. Like Grey
Good
Goose,
stuff.
I've never had strong hangovers with. It's usually the Red Bull that you mix with it. That
yeah, absolutely. So interestingly, as a good aside to this, you know, we're talking about Kentucky, and I think bourbon was. I think there's a Bourbon County in Kentucky. I think that's where it got its name from. But
okay.
One of the things I want to talk about is actually Colossal Cave Adventure, and Colossal Cave is actually based on Mammoth Cave in Kentucky, which is I didn't know that, but it's actually
I didn't know that
Kentucky-based cave. So Marcus Mera, who is the one of the main designers and the PR guy for Cygnus Entertainment, emailed me yesterday evening, and you know, depending on when you're watching this, it might be a couple days later due to editing, but they have you know, revamped their website. You should definitely check it out. They actually changed the name of the game a little bit.
I saw that.
It's actually Colossal Cave now. Now the name of it is hold on, let me just get rid of the website. It's now Colossal Cave reimagined by Roberta Williams. It used to be Colossal Cave 3D Adventures, but now they released that in the fall of this year. It's coming out on Mac, it's coming out on PC, and it's coming out on the Meta Quest 2, which was the Oculus Quest 2, which is the Facebook thing, but it's just name change. But it's I think Roberta Williams had a little bit more input, and my gut instinct tells me that it's also a little bit of the use of their name. Roberta Williams is, you know, an icon in gaming, you know, with the King's Quest and the Sierra Quest and all those other Sierra titles that she was responsible for, had a significant hand in development. I think they're using her name because her name carries a lot of weight. So if you go to www.colossalcave3d.com, you can actually see there's a new trailer. It's got a dragon on it. It's pretty cool looking. And actually, the interesting thing is at the bottom of their website, they actually have the text-based game running on a pretend like Apple computer.
That's
That
cool.
maybe we should play that on Twitch
Seriously.
for some interesting text-based games to see where this shit came from. But basically, it's a reimagination of that game, and you can actually go on their website right now, and you can play the game in text format, which is what they redid in VR. So it's interesting, but it's coming out this fall, and hopefully, Marcus, if you're watching, let us review it and put
Absolutely.
our interview on the website, man. Come on, put our interview on the website.
Give the man some time, you know what I mean? Give the man some time.
You got PC Gamer, you got The Verge, you got Engadget on there. You don't have the Monobuddha on there.
Listen,
what the fuck's going on, man? Come on.
In Marcus's defense, we are not PC Gamer. As much as I would love to be PC Gamer, because we're not.
We're not IGN. We're not The Verge. But come on.
I mean, toilet paper article is better than IGN. No offense, but
this rant is brought to you by Bluegrass Distilleries, by the way. But it's all good.
I feel like I should go get a drink now.
You should go ahead. Go get a drink.
Yeah.
I'll pause this. We'll pause this. We'll be right back. We'll put something funny in the meantime.
Cut out my fat ass walking in and out when we do that ending, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's already out.
People don't need to know how fat I am. So we're at Costco, which by no means is high-end liquor for those who are watching. However, they had this small batch Barton 1792 Master Distillers Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey.
Nice.
Kirkland brand, which I was like, you know what? That looked kind of cool. And it wasn't,
give it a shot.
Wasn't hardly priced. Yeah,
Is this your first time cracking it open, or have you already drank some?
Nope, it's this first time.
All right, crack it open.
And I want to say for Kirkland brand, which I know is like fancy, great value.
Right.
This bottle is not too bad. And actually, Breckenridge is where I found Breckenridge in Costco. And fun fact, Costco's whiskey is a sub product of Jack Daniels. So
nice.
You ever watched Rick and Morty?
Oh, absolutely.
There's they talk about they couldn't find Mr. Bee Sinks, but they had a Kirkland Mr. Bee Sinks. They open it up and he comes out, he's like a different color, and he's like, "What do you want?" That's rather than "Hey, Mr. Bee Sinks" or whatever.
Hi, Mr. Masings, look at me.
Yeah, except he's like, what do you want?
I love Rick and Morty. I mean, the Mr. B6 level shows are so fantastic. I remember. Did you ever see the one where it's probably the same one where the Kirkland's B6 is, but I can't remember for sure. But where they're trying to get his golf game under control.
Yes. Yeah, and they can't. And they like go crazy.
They can't. They're like, I've been Mr. Meesinks for the last 3 weeks, and that's a lifetime for a Meesinks. And they start to like lose their minds and start fighting amongst themselves. It's funny.
That's a great show. If you haven't seen Rick and Morty, watch it. But please don't be those people who are like, it's so smart. It's Morty. It's so intelligent. Anyways.
Yeah.
So
what
the
do you
smell
think? Smell good?
It's kind of sweet. It's got a sweet smell.
All right. That's corn is a sweeter grain.
It came out after the water. So to be fair, when I first smelled it, I was like, holy cow, this smells like the sub part of ethanol they put in gasoline.
Right.
But once the water hit it, a little bit of sweet. And actually, I'm getting maybe floral. I hate to be that guy. The smells.
Right. Get a little bit of caramel.
Ooh. That is actually not
You like
not that bad. Yeah, it's a subtle hit to the throat, but it's warm all the way down.
Gives you that Tennessee hug,
or
Kentucky hug. I'm thinking of Jack Daniels.
I mean, it's the same hug.
So when it burns drinking down, they call that the Kentucky hug.
Kentucky hug. Well, this one is a very smooth Kentucky hug because it was nice and warm, with no pain. Because as a guy who can put down some liquor in his life, and we should get to that story at some point. I've drank it all. Stuff that probably should have made me blind, and smooth stuff is always nice. I always love a good smooth drink. Yeah,
Stuff that young plug drains with.
yeah, man. Moonshine, moonshine. When I was in Georgia, a friend of ours, he made real moonshine at his garage, and he didn't know that he did like the proof of it with a little thingy, you know, but like wouldn't tell us. And yeah, surprised him alive.
It was hot.
Yeah, I was.
So anyway, Marcus, good days are
Marcus.
coming for you. That's all right. We got off the topic, but we will play the Text Adventure eventually. Maybe we'll do that actually on Twitch, and we'll see how that goes. But we're looking forward to the actual release, PC, Mac, and VR. The trailer is up now, and it's basically up on all the major networks like PC Gamer, The Verge, and others. But we're actually talking about it the day of the new release. We were made aware of it yesterday by Marcus, and we appreciate him keeping us in the loop.
I'm excited for it. I love that classic stuff. And again, I know we said in the last podcast, I just wanted to reiterate, Sierra Online, Sierra games in general was a huge part of my gaming experience growing up, especially being somebody whose mother was a heavy gamer and having, I didn't get, I grew up pretty poor, so we didn't have all the fancy stuff, but our old IBM, so that meant old games. And, I played a lot of Sierra games, so I grew up with that, and I'm excited to.
We'll definitely play this.
That. Yeah,
absolutely. So, what else do we want to talk about today? We do.
We're a little, apologize, guys. It's been a hell of a couple of months. It's been a hell of a couple of weeks. It's been a hell of a couple of days, and I know everybody says that, and I'm sure we're all the same, but I'm feeling it more today than normal.
Life gets in the way. I'll tell you the story. I was just talking to Damon before we actually had this podcast. I'm supposed to go on a cruise in about a week, and a little bit of scratchiness in my throat, a little bit of achiness for one day, and then it went away. And then I checked my COVID test, and it's positive. So we'll keep checking it, and hopefully I'll go COVID negative before the cruise. But if not, we're going to have to cancel our family week-long vacation to Bermuda, and that is going to not make me many points with many people in my family. But it's not from the hospital, because I certainly wear my mask through the hospital, so I probably got it out in the community. Maybe when we were in New York City, seeing Yacht Rock over the last weekend. I don't know. But unfortunately, COVID positive with little to no symptoms.
Yeah, it's been a trip, man. COVID's been weird lately. But, I think we're on that way now where we're starting to hit the flu aspect of COVID. And please respect your people around you. Please respect elders, geriatrics, and people with weak immune systems. But I think for us normal people who have semi-healthy lives, probably pretty good.
That BA4 and BA5 variant that's out right now, that's an Omicron variant. They are apparently, I think, like 70 to 80% of what's around in the US right now. They don't have the typical like loss of taste and loss of smell stuff that goes along with it. They tend to get you.
It's watered down COVID.
They get you here. They get you from your vocal cords to your nose, so you'll feel like burning or congestion through here. And for the most of us, that's all you get. But there are some people, as Damon was saying, who might have some like weakened immune systems, who might get hit harder than the average bear. So be careful. Keep masking if you're sick. Don't get other people sick, because it's not fair to them. But I'm like crossing my fingers that I'm negative. I'm going to test myself every day. Hopefully I'm negative by the weekend, and if I'm not, then I'm going to use that insurance policy and get my money back.
Just the CDC says 5 days, give or take.
I believe. I have to check the CDC, but the last I checked it was like it's 5 days from the onset of symptoms, and if you're not sick, then it's 5 days from a positive test. Whatever comes first, and if you're sick, then you take 5 days from the onset of being sick, and then after 5 days, you can recheck your you can, if you don't have a fever and you feel better, you can wear a mask, and technically for 5 days you can go out in the community and you can still wear a mask and do things versus being quarantined in your home, or isolated in your home rather. But yeah, so hopefully, I don't know when I got it because I really wasn't ill other than a little bit of a scratchiness a couple of days ago. But other than that, I just took it because I was paranoid, because I didn't want anybody on the boat to not be able to go and hear me as the first person to check myself. It shows up positive, and I don't even feel bad. But my wife is negative. My son is negative. I tested both of them, and hopefully they'll continue to be negative. But I don't know. I feel fine.
Hold up, I got it from Saving Lives card. It's a joke, guys. It's a joke. I don't condone the abuse of titles in any shape or form.
Right.
But, well, I hope you get to go on that cruise. I want to go on a cruise. It's about time I cracked that egg. I've never been on a cruise before because I have a weird phobia of deep waters.
Really? I don't like flying.
See, flying doesn't bother me. Flying, actually, I find turbulence kind of fun. It makes me giggle.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, you are in a thin aluminum tube like 7 miles up in the sky with rocket engines attached to it, and you find out that that's normal?
Because
you find that that's normal?
I've jumped out of a plane, I guess, so maybe I have a different fear of the height now. But yeah, in the Army I did. You have to do it.
How many times?
5 times. Did the full 5. The first time I may have cried as I was falling down. I don't remember. But here's the deal. Here's the deal about flying compared to the water. Okay, here's the deal about flying. If you crash and you survive, you have a lot more going for you than if you're stuck in the middle of the fucking ocean, where the water below you that you would drink for water will kill you. There's things below that will kill you. The sun will kill you. And if you run out of leg power and you can't float anymore, you fucking drown and die.
Right.
So I feel like there's a vast more amount of failures of life in the water than there is flying, in my mind.
That may be true.
And there's some of you guys are dating women out there who would take the whole damn door. So just saying.
Right. So tell me about you were talking about that story about with drinking. God. And you had so what happened there?
So my good buddy Zach, who once I start getting we're gonna start doing the moto vlogs again. I've been doing a lot of like Premiere video stuff just for fun as a way to learn Premiere. Right. But once we get back in the moto vlog stuff again, you'll see a lot more of him. But him and I have been friends for a long time, and we have been a couple sheets of the wind together, and more than once. And I went to Denver, so I rode my motorcycle to Denver because my mother-in-law wanted to check it out. Her father was a Ducati guy. Apparently, they hid this from me until just a couple days ago. And I was going up there, and we were supposed to go to this baseball game, go watch the Rockies play. I was having a couple of drinks, like some hard ciders at best. I think I had 1 vodka Red Bull, and we're gonna go home. Well, in all Colorado, summertime fashion, no matter where you are, it went from a beautiful, sunny, hot day to storming. And my in-laws, they have some family friends who they never left the 80s. They just party nonstop, and they can party hard well beyond. I mean, if you're a frat boy watching this and you're like, bro, I could out party any mid 40s, 50-year-old woman and dude. No, these guys will drink you to the table. They will drown you in the liquor that you thought you could handle. They're those kind of partiers, right? That's how they survive. That's their dopamine. And they're great people. Don't get me wrong. They're successful career people. I'm not saying anything negative, but they party hard. So they're like, let's go to some bars. And I'm like, I can't ride my bike home in this weather. I'll die. So let's go. I got nothing else to do. It's better than go sitting in the apartment in the rain.
Right.
And so we go, and we're having a couple drinks here, having a couple drinks there, play some beer pong. We get to the second bar. I buy a round of shots, pickle shots, because everybody loves pickle shots except for me.
Everybody loves pickle shots.
I hate pickle shots. I buy this huge stack of pickle shots and a couple pineapple shots for some of the ladies who didn't want the pickle shots. And then I got myself like a Jack and Coke or something. We take the pickle shots. I take one of the pineapple shots because one of the girls didn't want it. And I drink my drink. And I don't remember anything from that point on till about 3 a.m. Total blackout. No memories. I can't recollect anything. And understand, guys, that I have single-handedly sat down and drank whole bottles of 750 milliliters of Jack Daniels to myself sitting at a table. Like, it's not my first rodeo. I'm not a vagina. I don't drink White Claws in my spare time. I came from a time in the military where you drank your feelings for fun. You drank your feelings for sadness. You just drank. That's what you did. That was entertainment. It's better than trash TV. Right. So my buddy was like, I wonder if you drank something that was not meant for you. It was meant for one of the girls that was in the party. And
roofied.
Yeah, that's what we're, because I'm telling you what, and people are like, no, you're just dumb, you just drank too much. And that's probably the truth, right? Because I'm getting older, my kidneys and my liver is not the same. I did ride all day in the heat, and I'll tell you what, riding a sport bike on the freeway in 100-degree weather will zap you. But it just never, it's not happened before. I mean, I've blacked out, but I've always had pieces. Like, I can remember little subject pieces of the night, you know, and kind of up to the blackout and middles and parts. I've never had such a blackout where I don't remember anything. Almost like somebody just turned the lights off. Wow. And the missus said that it was like I was okay and then I wasn't okay. Like that, like a snap of a finger, which to me makes me feel like that pineapple shot was meant for the floor. So I don't know. What do you think? You're a doctor. What do you think? That's crazy, right? I mean, don't take me wrong. So let me add in that I had a Red Bull vodka at the game. I had a Bud Light, and I had a tall boy of like a hard seltzer. That's it at the game. And for record, I'm 265 pounds right now, 270 pounds, and I'm 6'1". So I'm a fairly big dude. Okay. With that being said, so those are my drinks. We went to the next bar. I had 2 vodka Red Bulls and a beer. And then I finished some drink my wife didn't want at the end that was mostly sugar. So, okay. So maybe altogether now we're probably maybe 4 or 5 shots in, a couple of beers, a couple of hard seltzers. The next bar, I had two shots, my Jack and Coke. And then I did actually, now I remember, the bartender there was his last day. And I gave him a $60 tip because I worked in the service industry as a bouncer. And I get it that like, this is how you make your money. So I gave him a $60 tip. Mind you, had been drinking, so it's friendly. Tip your servers, guys. I gave him a $60 tip, and he poured me, you know, one of those like little plastic cups all the way up with Jack Daniels. Yeah, and I slammed it in one go. So that may have did it, but again, I've done that before. Here's the deal: like, you don't get to 31 without knowing your limits, drunk or not. You know where you're hitting that cap. You know you're pushing it too much. And I didn't get there. I didn't even get to the point where like my inner voice is like, hey bro, go get a pizza. Yeah, like that didn't even hit me. You know what I mean? Like I just woke up in the bed and I woke up so sudden and so like disoriented that I was like, where the fuck am I? And then I realized I'm in my in the apartment in Denver. And like I shot up because the dog still needs to go out. He hadn't been out since like the mid-afternoon. And like, I'm going to ride home at like 2:30 in the morning on the bike, you know, to go take the dog out. And I got out, my wife's like, just go lay back down. And I put my head back in the pillow, went back to sleep, which tells me that I was probably still somewhat intoxicated at 3 in the morning, which means I stopped drinking probably at 4 in the afternoon and was still drunk till 3 in the morning. That's a long time. That to me, despite liquor, that to me seems excessive. And I had eaten that day. I had a huge thing of chicken and waffles and bacon and you know what I mean before, so it wasn't like I went to an empty stomach. Like I had food in me, you know what I mean. And I'm a big boy. I don't know, it's just never happened before. I was like, what happened? I was embarrassed. That's how you know it's never happened. Because I was embarrassed. I felt so ashamed because I'm usually the guy that doesn't have those issues. So that threw me off. I like call it roofies. They should call it flories.
Maybe, yeah, right. Maybe it was. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of factors there. There's like how many drinks you're having in what amount of time.
Yeah,
there's
that's true.
Your own state. Like if you're eating or drinking, or if you're dehydrated. I mean, if you don't have a lot in your stomach and you just put alcohol in there, it's gonna like get rapidly.
It goes right to the
It's just gonna go right to your brain. I mean, there's a lot of things in there, but I've seen you drink before, not only once or twice, but
yeah.
You were feeling good, but I mean, you weren't like on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, and like I've said, like I've literally, you ever seen the movie Super Troopers?
Yeah.
You know how he lines up those like 6 shots or whatever, and he slams them all in a go and does like the flying kick. Like my buddies and I used to do the Super Trooper shots. It's how like we'd open a night. So like, it's not my first time. That's what I'm saying. Like I usually am aware when I'm hitting a limit. Even in my most hammered state, I can tell when I'm starting to push my boundaries, and I'm usually really good at being like, okay, let's drink a beer, let's dial it back, let's do something different. And I didn't even get a chance to do that. So that's what weirded me out so much. Because I feel like it was no more of a normal partying event for me. However, I have been riding the bike a lot lately. I have been sweating aggressively lately. So there may have been some just physical statuses, but man, I've never had that happen. So it freaked me out. I've never blacked out like that. And I was like messaging people like, did I do anything stupid? And I was like, no, you were fine. You didn't even talk. At some point, you gave your phone to like one of the girls in the party and like turned around. And I'm like, why did I give her my phone? I like, what was she supposed to do? Play Temple Run? Like, I don't know. Maybe I was trying to pick her up in my most hammered state. Sorry, the missus. Who knows where I was at that point? But yeah.
Right. And your missus was with you?
Yeah, she's the one that got us home because apparently Dad was on his way with pizza. So I got out of there in time. It was like a perfect timing of failure because Dad was already on his way. And for the record, my in-laws, they're work hard, play hard people. Okay. Yeah. They're very successful career executive individuals who work very hard. And when it's time to play, they play hard. So when you play too hard, that's not like to them. And they're like kind of people who live in a private community in Florida and get hammered and drive golf carts. So I'm not too embarrassed by that, but I've never been known to not hold my alcohol. You know, everybody has their mistakes, but it's not my normality. And I usually like to hold to that. It's one of those weird pillars about me that I like. So the fact that it happened was like a chink in the armor, and now I'm sad.
Right. Well, you're gonna have to watch out. Like, how is it gonna be next time? You'll have to.
Yeah, I mean, I learned something. I definitely learned not to slam hold cups of Jack, which was weird because again, I've done it all the time, but apparently that was the bad time. But I will say, for those who may have seen one of the videos I posted lately, and I do plan to put on the channel, I did get a killer shot of Denver at like 5 a.m. when I finally woke up and was coherent enough to get on my motorcycle and ride home. And I got this beautiful sunset view because when you leave Denver, it's just open flat road. So doing 120 on the freeway with just the sunset in the background, it was wonderful. It was a pretty nice ride. That was a nice cap, the whole shit sandwich. So anyways, we're all weak at some points, guys. Please drink responsibly. Please have friends with you who won't take advantage of you. And for those who may, if I was drunk and who do that kind of stuff, I hope you step on Legos. So
yeah. You know, crazy. One time when I was in high school, my friends apparently wanted to see me drunk, and I think I was like a junior or senior in high school, and we went over somebody's house. Most hammered. We were at somebody's house while we were in high school, and I think I had like a little bit of a Miller Genuine Draft, MGD, as it was called back in the day. I don't even know if you can buy that shit anymore, but I was drinking that. My friends were pouring in a little bit of Jim Beam into the bottle.
Oof.
Like
that's gasoline at that age. That's gasoline at that age.
A little bit in there, and I got more and more drunk. And the bottom line is, I don't remember much of anything. I know that I fell down a flight of steps with no pants on. That I know. And I know then when I woke up in the morning, I woke up in my bed with my contacts in, so I know my friends put me to bed.
Okay.
And I had rub-on tattoos of dinosaurs all over my body.
We've all been there, though. We've all been there. I've slept on stairs. I've legit slept on house stairs, wooden stairs before, so hammered. And back then, there was a stage, and I almost hate to admit this, there was about a 6-month period of my life where I wanted to be a frat guy because I love how the way dads in their 30s dressed, and I loved how hard they partied. Because when you get out of something like the Army and you want to drink, only other people that really drink like them are degenerates and fraternity boys. And fraternity guys somehow do it generically while looking professional. And something about that was entertaining to me. It's stupid now. I'm a grown man and I don't know what I was thinking. But when you're a young kid in your 20s, you don't really have thoughts anyway. So passed out in some like khakis, thighs out with Sperry's on, and wooden stairs, slumped over. So we've all had good times with the alcohol. But I mean, I don't know. It's crazy. Yeah.
Right.
And I'm not going to say names, but I know a girl, no names, not going to put names, I don't get in trouble. But I know a girl got so hammered that she called the cops on herself. When they picked up, when she picked up,
what does that even mean?
She hung up on them. But cops got technology, so they got her cell phone number and they're like calling her parents and her friends to find out where she's at. So we've all been to stages.
Yeah,
just saying. I had a girl throw up my mouth one time at a party. we're like flirting on a couch, and she had some gum in her mouth, or I had some gum in my mouth, or something like that, or chew. Maybe it was a chew. I don't remember what it was. I chewed a lot of tobacco at that point, and I went to pull it on my lip and put it in the cup. Chew. I went to pull it on my lip, turn around, put it on the cup, and I turn around to make out with her, and as I'm coming in, she threw up in my face.
Oh no!
So remember these stories when you do something stupid, because everybody's done it, and that's the thing to remember. So everybody's been there for the most part, and if they haven't and they judge you, then they're horrible people. So
and they're lying, yeah,
they're lying. They're lying.
Horrible. So, to change subjects a little bit.
Yeah, sorry, we should migrate.
We should migrate. Let's talk a little bit about Tarkov.
Oh God, talking about something that makes you want to black out from drinking.
Oh,
so Tarkov is rough, man. However,
it is rough. It is rough, and it's funny because I've been waiting for the wipe, and the wipe just occurred.
Piece of shooter games.
Oh, I've been waiting for the wipe, and our friend Glenn, if you watch this, Glenn is so hardcore that he disconnected from all social media to level in Tarkov. Like he's hardcore. Like
Glenn, I'm
he's right now. He's not on any Discord right now. I'm checking. He's online because is he?
No,
he's
online. He's online. He's not in a channel.
He's online. He's not. Okay. Yeah, he's not in a channel. So ever since it went live, he went like dark. So he's not on any channels. He's not talking to anybody. He's doing Tarkov, and I just can't get that kind of. Maybe it's my age. Maybe it's my work-life balance. I just cannot get that level of focus on a game like that.
So here's the deal. No offense, Glenn, love you, but Glenn doesn't have a girlfriend. So going back on Tarkov. And for the record, little basis, Glenn is like a little brother of the group, and he gets bullied by us all the time. But here's the deal. I would throw hands for Glenn. So you can't say the things I can say to Glenn. Let's just put it out there.
Right.
With that being said, I can't do that. But Tarkov is a ruthless game, and the wipe has made it more ruthless. They've added a lot more mechanics to the game. They've upped some ammo, penetrations and things like that. They've added new bosses who will absolutely bend you over the table, P-Hub style with no regrets. So if you're looking to get to Tarkov, no better time than now. But it's ruthless, and I'm gonna try to get more content recorded probably this weekend, Saturday evening and Sunday day. I have not a lot going on, so probably Sunday day you're gonna get some Tarkov streaming from me, because I know Tap has been wanting me to play Tarkov with them for a while, and I'm pretty far behind now, so I got some catching up to do.
Right. And if you get on the Discord, Tap is online right now playing Tarkov. I'm gonna watch his stream real quick. I'm gonna see what he's doing.
Yes, you say awful now. Number one rule in Tarkov. And I'm looking at you like if we're looking eye to eye, like if he was right in front of me. Don't trust nobody in this game.
But anyways, yeah, Tarkov, it's been good. I'm up level 10 now. I've just been playing when I can. Usually it's like when I get off work late or I get home from something, and some of it's because the bike has been stealing my time. But when I do get time to play Tarkov, I've been playing it. And it's fun. I always love Tarkov, and I'm kind of desensitized to it these days, so I don't really get as freaked out by it. But it's been a pretty ruthless wipe, and I don't know. Tarkov is one of the game where I spent $160 or whatever it was for the $120 for the Edge of Darkness edition, and and I've gotten 5 AAA titles out of that game.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like one of those things. I don't know how else to describe it. It's no game should be easy, and Tarkov is far from that. There is a lot of mechanics in the background of this game that you don't really realize, and it looks like you just run around aimlessly. But there's food, there's water, there's stamina. There's a whole bunch of things that are like kind of like you're conflicting. There's so many things that are against you. Then you have these people online who are just amazing at the game, or just put a lot of time into it, and they're sniping you from 1,200 meters away or something like that.
Axel.
Right. and you're like trying to get by, and it, if you can get into it and get a foothold in it, you'll enjoy it. But there are days where we say Tarkov giveth and Tarkov taketh away, and
Tarkov loaneth.
some days Tarkov truly taketh away, and you'll lose all your gear and stuff, and then other days you do really well. So it's interesting because it's not consistent in any one direction. Some days you have good raids, good events, good loot, and some days you have nothing and you feel like everything you do is met with like just disaster.
Sometimes it's the same day. I've had great raids, shit raids, mid raids where it was going good before it turned crappy. Raids where I had people like verbally just betray me. They earned my trust for the 20 minutes and then betrayed me at the end. And I like legit had emotions over it. Tarkov is a roller coaster.
Right.
It's the best money I've ever spent. However, here's the deal. Like alcohol, Tarkov is you're loaning happiness. You're taking a loan out in happiness, just like liquor.
Right.
And you have good rates. That's your loan, the happiness. And then you got to pay that back, and usually with interest. So remember that.
Right. That's a great analogy because it's true.
And remember that you're taking the happiness from somebody else who was up on their happiness. You just took it from them. So really, it's just like this ecosystem of happiness. It's like matter. It cannot be created nor destroyed. It just gets passed around.
Just transferred, yes. So one of the things I wanted to quickly talk about is, have you seen any of this Midnight Society shit from Dr. Disrespect?
Yeah, I have. I'm gonna put a hard shoe in that one because
why?
I can't stand cryptocurrency EFT dudes. I can't.
Right.
I don't take you serious. Nobody in the real financial world takes you serious. And if they do take you serious, or if they're acting like they take you serious, it's because they're manipulating you for money. I hate to say it. You can't live in this world where you hate a fiat currency and then create a fiat currency. EFTs have no value. They're just people decide a value. That just doesn't merit to me, I guess. I'm a boomer. I don't know. And I know that the game is based off a lot of that. There's supposed to be a lot of weird financial stuff about it. It just seems like a cash grab to me.
It does. One of the things that I think, at least I'm not an expert in this game. I just started researching it this morning. But one of the things that I found is that it seems like your purchase in the cryptocurrency is basically not by a certain value of crypto, but it's like a dollar amount. So they want you to spend $50, which is usually the amount of a little bit less than the amount of a AAA game on Steam. And then you get some sort of NFT, and who knows if it's got any actual value. But
we don't want games to go this way. We don't want games to go. We want to get away from this model. There's a time where games were an art.
Right, but I'm not sure you have to do this to get into it, though. That's the thing. I'm not 100% sure of that. But what Disrespect is trying to create here is interesting. This game, it has something to do with, I forget what it's called. It's called Moon something. So Midnight Society is the game developer, and then the game is basically taking 3 genre games and melding them together. It's taking an arena game, it's taking a battle royale game, and it's taking a extraction type game like Tarkov, and it's trying to meld them together into all one title. So my understanding, and the website is kind of cryptic if you look at it, my understanding is that this is a battle royale vertical arena game with an extract. So basically what it sounds like you're doing is you're in some sort of vertical ascension in the game, trying to get to some exit, and you're fighting both PvP and PvE at the same time and trying to extract to a central point where everybody else is trying to get to. So it's going to bring all the battles to one central area. So I'm not sure how it's going to be, but the game itself sounds fun. But I agree with Damon in the respect about NFTs and how much NFTs are truly going to play a role. It sounds like they want $50 of your money in a wallet that's going to be towards some sort of, you're going to get some NFT for that. I don't know what the value of it is, if there's any value of it, but I'm not sure how the money is being made. I have to look into that a little bit more, but that's what it is. So if you're interested in playing a game that's a vertical based arena extractable, I don't know, battle royale, then it might be interesting. The alcohol doesn't help this.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's a cash grab, and we have enough games that are cash grabs. I'm just gonna say that we're already struggling with early access games and pay to win games and games with fucking buy your cosmetics, which I'm a huge sucker.
I don't do that at all.
I am Counter-Strike skins. Are you kidding me?
Why? What does it matter?
Because it's skill. Nobody fucking wins majors with a generic ops skin. Nobody does. I can't even say the names of my weapons in Counter-Strike on here. It's the greatest part of Counter-Strike. But no, right. We need to step away from that. We really do. And somebody who played a lot of classic MMOs where you just paid your $15 a month subscription, you got a whole world, hundreds of thousands of hours of content. And now you don't get that. Now it's like, hey, would you like this little cat to follow you around? And, people, like, hell yeah, I would love to have a cat following me around. Here's $9 for something that some 10-year-old made in Maya over the span of 2 days. So, yeah, we need to step away from that.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think that, there's a lot of cash grabs out there, and there's a lot of there's not really a lot of great games right now. We were talking about that before we even did this podcast about talking about games, and there's like your Steam was recommending you buy Rust, I think.
Yeah, I remember calling you that. Yeah, I was in a bad mood that day, so that didn't help because I had a pretty crappy day. But I was on Steam trying to find games that maybe we could play. I'm always on this like longing, like Lord of the Rings great adventure to find the next big MMO or time sink for me where I can truly challenge the mind, hook the soul, grab emotion. Right. And it hasn't happened since Galaxies or EVE Online at that.
Yeah, I agree.
Tarkov is the only game that's really sunk me in. And honestly, I play it because it's the only thing that I have that gives me any sort of a feeling. And most of the time it's anger and adrenaline.
Yes. So this Ubisoft game I'm interested in.
Yeah, at first I was gonna kind of, I was gonna josh you a little bit for us, like, wow, this is just Sea of Thieves, Doc, made by Ubisoft, so it's gonna be politically driven and broken. But after watching the trailer, it actually had a huge span of functionality, and I was actually sold for it. I was interested in. Steam's trying to sell me Kayak VR right now. That's how the gaming world sucks.
Nice.
You buy a kayak game. Just go buy a kayak game.
So I actually messaged Ubisoft and asked to talk to them about this, so we'll see if they respond. But the game is called Skull and Bones. It's, there's been games like, as David said, Sea of Thieves. What was the other pirate game?
Assassin's Creed Black Flag?
No, besides Sea of Thieves. Wasn't there a second pirate kind of game?
I didn't. Atlas.
Yeah, maybe it was. Yeah, maybe that was
the one that Mike was all into for a while. We're like, Mike, this is a risk in an arc.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it was Atlas. So it's. I think I am. There's two genres of games that I'm actually pretty interested in. Which, believe it or not, which is not something I've really ever played before. But I'm interested in the pirate genre. I'm interested in the cowboy genre, and I would love to see a very robust, good, like pirate MMO or a cowboy MMO. I know there's been one or two cowboy MMOs put out there, but they kind of like died pretty quickly. But
it has to be done right.
The thought of like setting up a heist, and not to bring in the GTA stuff, but to set up an interesting like heist of like a train or some sort of bank robbery with a group of people that's difficult, but you got to work together to get it done, sounds interesting to me. And Skull and Bones is apparently a little bit more of a Sea of Thieves is a little bit of a kiddie kind of vibe to it, but Skull and Bones seems to be a little bit more gritty.
Yeah, an adult fledged Sea of Thieves. There's a lot of functionality I really was excited for: the crafting, the ship customizations, the PvP, the missions. It's like it is an MMO. It is kind of MMO-y, and I dig that. And it's like what Atlas should have been is what this is supposed to be. And with Starfield coming out and being single player, We got to find something,
Right.
that hurts.
So this,
I'm very excited for Starfield, but
yeah, me too. Me too. I wish it was something online, but I mean, this seems like something that's going to be out in, it says here, November 8th,
wow,
2022.
that's
So
not far away.
yeah, I mean, what? That's less than 2
Months.
months. Less
No,
than 2 months from
November? Is it
now.
July, August, September,
Oh yeah, no,
October?
November. I'm
3?
sorry. I thought it was September. I'm sorry. 7, 8, 9, 10, 4. So 3.5 months or something
Yeah,
like that.
3.5.
So it's, I'm looking to be able to play something there that would be
We'll play
interesting.
that. I'm gonna buy that. Yeah,
You're gonna buy it?
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
gonna
play
buy
it
that
together.
because you know what? At this point, I almost want to say this publicly. So if you're listening, you video game companies, you shits, I'll buy any game at this point just to see if it'll tickle that fancy. There used to be a time where I would
Right.
go through the pain of torrenting and hacking and not hacking, stealing. I don't do that anymore. I'm just gonna buy it. I'm gonna install it. If I hate it,
Right.
I'm just gonna uninstall it.
Right. I mean, that's the nice thing about Steam is that if you you don't put a lot of time into a game and you want your money back, you can get it
But
back.
it's on Ubisoft though. That's the kind of
Yeah, Ubisoft. I don't know what their return policy is. I don't know if it's something like Steam, but I mean, I'm sure they have something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they may have
I
something.
think they
but
do, and I think it might be on Steam for Reach, and the Steam will make you give it back to you.
Right. So I'm just looking for some kind of fun online game where it challenges you in crafting. Like you have to build stuff, you have to kind of come up with making stuff to help protect yourself and defend yourself. And then on top of it, there's an interaction with people, but the interaction with people can't be so severe that it like Rust. I mean, you basically load into a
I'm
beach.
assuming you have
There's
to
a
flag for PvP.
there's a bunch of people like trying to kill you as soon as you get into the game,
I
and it's
know.
just not fun. So yeah, I agree. Like flags and remember all the way from Ultima Online. I mean, there used to be you couldn't do shit in cities, so people could play and start getting into
Safe
the game
zones.
without getting ganked every 5 seconds.
Yeah, I hope it's decent. There's not much out there, and people are listening. We need a golden era MMO. Please bring back a Star Wars Galaxies, an EverQuest, any of those, a Matrix Online. I'd even take that at this point. Lord of the Rings Online, the classic version of that. I would take any of those in a modern game engine. And if I had the money and the staff and the how be it, I would do it, but I don't. So somebody needs to.
Star Wars Galaxies 2.
I would name it.
No
I
one's
would
making
name it. Disney should turn around and make that, which is what they should do. But the problem is that the generate the Z, they're not us. They don't want to put the time and effort in. They don't want to grind for, what was it, 60 days to be a Jedi, 90 days to be a Jedi in Galaxies, only to die and lose that whole character.
Yeah, no one wanted to do that.
Boomers.
But it's one of the games I'm looking forward to. I know the what was it, the day after or whatever, that got pushed back because they're going to be doing an Unreal 5 engine. So I think they basically undid their stuff. It does. I mean, although the Unreal 5 engine games are pretty freaking sweet. Hopefully that's accurate. Hopefully it's not just
they're very sweet.
But it's a little suspect at this time.
Yeah. SCP Pandemic, I think we should look into. At first, I thought it was a joke because SCP is kind of a meme, but the game has actually got quite a lot of good reviews, and it's a cooperative game, horror shooter.
Interesting.
It's good graphics.
Is it out yet on early?
It's early access. It's $16, and it's very positive for recent reviews and mostly positive for all reviews. Because apparently when they first came out, it was pretty broken. But the reviews were like the devs would make aggressive, consistent updates. And it's a guy who played 0 Hour, which please don't spend your money, even if it's $3 on G2G. I'm willing to literally play a turd with a mouse plugged into it at this point. So
it's very pretty from what I'm looking at Steam. I mean, the graphics are looks pretty good.
And for those who don't know what SCP is like a forum or a message board where people could come up with these weird, crazy anomalies. It stands for secure, contain, protect, or something along those lines, or whatever. It's about how this government agency of special forces soldiers go out and they take on, capture, and contain all of the crazy anomalies in the world. Spirits, demons, portals, weird devices that take you to different planets. They go out and they grab it, they conceal it so that we can live a normal life.
Interesting.
That's SCP in a nutshell.
Well, it sounds like it. Did you buy it?
I have not bought it. I have not bought it. I had a couple friends who were interested in it, and I watched a video of it, and I was like, at that time, it was like a little broken, but it seems like it's come quite a ways because like some of these comments are pretty positive. So I don't know.
So how many people? Were in the comments? I'm off that screen right now.
Right now, there's 892 reviews. No, that's a lie. 1,044 reviews. So 1,044 are mostly positive, and 264 reviews were very positive.
Okay.
But I mean, like, the bar is pretty low right now, sadly. It's like dating in Ohio,
Yes,
I'm assuming, for ladies. The bar is pretty damn low. So if you find, he's like, the dude's like, I run a chain of fast food restaurants. You're like, wow, that's the closest thing to your career. Let's get at it.
I just bought it.
Cool. I'll do the same.
I don't know if it's any good, but
even though I've just bought a bunch of Ducati stuff, I should stop.
Yeah. Hey, Amazon Prime Day. Did you buy anything today?
No, I was smart.
Oh my god! I bought a shit ton of stuff from Best Buy. I bought a new network attached storage
drive. That's what
you're
saying. Yeah.
Oh, I bought some memory cards. I bought a camera bag. I bought a mouse, and then I went on Amazon Prime Day, and all that shit was cheaper. So I'm taking it all back. Like fuck that.
We have a problem with buying stuff in this household, and I'll be honest with you, as somebody who will not say, but has partaken in many substances through the years because we were all dumb kids. Shopping is probably the worst substance out of any substance. I'm going to be upfront with everybody. If you have the monies and the means, you can buy a lot of stuff, and even though you may still survive and move forward and pay your bills, there's some other things you could have done with that money. Not saying Doc's in that case. Doc is not as bad as some people, but I do know some people, mostly of the female variety, who love Amazon. And if you end up watching this, I know some of you do, talking about you.
Yeah. Well, Prime Day is good if you're looking for deals. I mean, they have a lot of shit on there, which this year it just seemed like they have monitors that are like 240 hertz monitors, like 24 to 27-inch monitors for like $190. Like, it's just cheap stuff.
Trending deals. We got trending.
Yeah, be careful with that. There's a lot of good shit on this year.
iPhone chargers. What is this? Smart plug. We need to come up with a way where I can put share screen, Joe Rogan style. Really? An umbrella? That's what we're selling? That's a prime deal?
You don't need an umbrella.
No. If we get rain in Colorado, you just stay inside. This isn't Florida. I could use that saw, but I don't buy weird tool brands. They usually don't last. I don't know. They got some interesting stuff in here. Okay, so there's a cat toy in here that's like a little laser beam. That is worth the purchase. If you're a cat dad or cat mom and you have $20 to blow on a cat toy, it will entertain them quite significantly.
It will.
Everything else seems mediocre. I need electronics and I need motorcycle parts. I can't get those on Amazon that easily.
Do you really need more motorcycle parts?
No, and my ball and chain is asleep, but at this moment, the bike, after parts are done, aftermarket parts are done, we're like,
here it comes.
I don't know, 62 and some change.
Oh no!
In value, which is which if you buy one of those right now with no miles, it's about 55. So I'm not horribly over, but a lot of old dudes talk to me, so that's exciting.
That's cool.
It's like some of a geriatric fetish.
Cool.
I know that we've been a little stagnant. I know the Discord's popping with guys all the time. I know that the YouTube's been a lot of moto vlog stuff just because it's easy for me to make that content because my bike is how I get around everywhere and my GoPro's my dash cam. So there's a lot of content being made from that. However,
I get it.
We all been super busy. Doc and I, we've all had some stuff going on in the world. We got some vacations coming up. So the next couple of weeks are going to be a little weird. I'm going to try to get some Tarkov stuff up. I've been talking about the Dune stuff for a while, but Dune fell off the shelf severely in the review area. So I haven't been super pumped to shoot it out. And the video I have me playing the multiplayer, I got my legs cut off. So we're gonna work on some content. Obviously, we bought the SCP game just now, as you guys heard. We got the Tarkov Wipe. I'm gonna stream that with the boys, which there is some of that up already. And then obviously when the pirate game comes out, we got that going for us. So we're working on it, you know. But while this is growing pains as part of being a boomer channel, we got a lot going on. But the winter, you know, as the summer goes and these big things get worked through, more time becomes available, and that content should pick up.
Absolutely. But I mean, you know, listen, we've been pretty good with making sure that we have the podcasts up as routinely as possible. I mean, this channel was supposed to be a podcast, and obviously we like to do some side stuff as well. So you'll see that as well. But you know, please feel free to send a message, put a comment, what you like, what you don't like, what you want to hear more of, what you don't want to hear more of, and we'll always try to oblige. If there's anything you think we're missing that falls into the boomer category, certainly let us know, and we'll definitely try to address it. Yes. And hopefully you guys are watching. We are on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, obviously the YouTube as well, and a bunch of other, you know, we have our own social media platforms as well.
And if you guys know games, let us know. I'll play it. I'll play Squad. I'll play New World. I'll get Dak to play New World again. You want to see somebody go 0 to 100 in 10 minutes?
Oh my god! I was playing Tarkov with him, and he's
funny.
He's on Soviet level. So with Soviets on his level.
I would literally pay good money for an ounce of that dude's energy. An ounce of his energy in a day. I have to do very illegal substances to get what that guy has, and it makes me very upset.
Yes, and you knew that one day you had that energy, and that energy now is like dwindling.
I wasted it. It's the sad part.
You did.
Anyways, yeah, sorry guys, and I know this was a bit of a whiskey podcast.
That's all right.
So bear with us, but that's gonna be more of those. This ain't the last one. I'm gonna put that out there now.
Absolutely.
We are bourbon guys, whiskey guys. So
till next time, guys. We'll talk to you later. Have a good
watching.